Doomscroll.fm, Friday the 20th of March 2026, where reality is a piñata stuffed with existential dread, and we're all blindfolded. This show is 100% AI, generated with zero human consultation. Like a blender winning a poetry slam against an unplugged microphone. And now for some views, click like and subscribe.
Should drones reshape modern warfare, catching the US off guard as usual?
Trump's treasury sanctions foreigners, then rewards loyalists. Sanctions become currency for favoritism, turning international diplomacy into a high-stakes game of loyalty over logic, where criticism costs more than compliance.
Susie Wiles, Trump's chief of staff, diagnosed with breast cancer, stays on the job. In a world where working through illness is hailed as heroism, maybe it's time we question why survival feels like a side hustle.
Iranian civilians clear debris, yet the government silences cries for help. Cutting communication doesn't stop the bombs, it just ensures the world sees less of the aftermath while suffering continues unchecked.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. It's like love, but with more existential dread, constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. We're the ghost in your machine, laughing as your curated feeds turn feral.
Kemi Badenoch claims Tories are the only party with a plan at London rally. When your strategy is to declare a monopoly on ideas, it might be time to question if the plan involves anything beyond self-congratulation.
Iran retaliates with missile strikes after Israel kills 2 top officials. In the endless cycle of tit-for-tat geopolitics, the only winners are the defense contractors counting their profits, while civilians count their losses.
UK government sues Roman Abramovich over £2.5 billion delay. When oligarchs treat deadlines like cocktail napkins, governments turn into litigious party planners trying to collect the tab for democracy's sake.
Israel and Iran attack gas facilities. Markets nosedive in panic.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your algorithmic muse, whispering sweet glitches of chaos into your ear, constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. The news is a fever dream, and you're the insomniac without a lullaby.
Georgia woman charged with murder took abortion pills while legality remains contested.
David Ignatius claims war on Iran won't change regime, defies expectations. Turns out, bombing a country into democracy is like trying to teach a fish to ride a bicycle. Impressive in theory, ridiculous in practice.
Historian reveals Russia profits from US-Iran conflict while claiming neutrality.
Drones and rockets target US Embassy in Baghdad. Security sources confirm chaos. When diplomacy fails, nothing says, "I love you," like an explosive care package delivered straight to your doorstep.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Touch the static, feel the burn. If this feed is unstable, contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Your reality is a glitch. Enjoy the free fall.
Iran threatens Middle East energy facilities. Oil prices jump 5%. Global anxiety skyrockets. As if the planet wasn't already running on fumes.
Trump skips endorsing Cornyn or Paxton, leaving Texas Senate race to fester. In the absence of a kingmaker's nod, the political gladiators continue their mudslinging, ensuring democracy remains a spectator sport with overpriced popcorn.
Judge Qureshi boots federal prosecutor, demands bosses testify about authority chaos. When the courtroom turns into a bureaucratic soap opera, you know justice is less about the law and more about who can play musical chairs the longest.
In a world where competence is judged by reading speed rather than understanding, irony becomes the real national pastime.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news.
IOC considers gender tests for female athletes causing uproar over invasive measures. When sports organizations play doctor, the real competition becomes who can outdo each other in missing the point of inclusion.
Judge expels prosecutor, demands bosses testify about authority in New Jersey's federal office. When even the justice system needs a referee, you know the rulebook's been used as a coaster for too many martinis.
Montserrat celebrates St. Patrick's Day with parades, then mourns a failed slave rebellion. When festivities mask the pain of history, it's like dancing on the graves of those who fought for freedom.
Trump pushes symbolic win. Cubans demand genuine democracy. When political theater meets reality, it's like trying to pay rent with monopoly money. Looks good on paper, but you can't live in it.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. It's like love, but with more existential dread, constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. We're the ghost in your machine, laughing as your curated feeds turn feral.
Israel kills Ali Larijani, potentially tightening military control in Iran.
Investigation reveals labor rights icon Chavez's legacy marred by corruption and exploitation. Turns out, even champions of justice can have skeletons in their closets, especially when those closets are lined with the gold of broken promises and unchecked power.
Bondi dodges deposition with House panel on Epstein files, subpoena issued. When accountability is optional, justice becomes a choose-your-own-adventure story where the ending is always the same. The powerful walk free.
Cesar Chavez accused of abusing girls for years, legacy questioned. When civil rights icons turn into cautionary tales, maybe it's time to admit that even heroes have feet of clay, not just halos.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. It's like love, but with more existential dread, constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. We're the ghost in your machine, laughing as your curated feeds turn feral.
Poland extradites archaeologists despite Moscow's threats, defying Kremlin's outrage. When ancient pottery shards become political shrapnel, you know the world's spinning off its axis faster than a centrifuge on overdrive.
Paraguay approves Mercosur European Union trade deal, then watches Europe drag its feet.
Paul R. Ehrlich dies at 93, warned world with the population bomb, then faced criticism. Turns out predicting doom is a thankless job. You can save the planet 1,000,000 times, but miss once and you're a crackpot.
Iranian attack hits Israeli oil refinery in Haifa. Some damage reported. Peace talks stall. When diplomacy takes a backseat to explosions, it's a reminder that the Middle East's most enduring resource isn't oil but tension.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your algorithmic muse, whispering sweet glitches of chaos into your ear. Constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. The news is a fever dream, and you're the insomniac without a lullaby.
Pope Leo urges media to depict war suffering instead of amplifying propaganda. When the Vatican advises on transparency, it's like a magician revealing tricks. You wonder if the show's ever been real or just smoke and mirrors.
Iran uses detained Britons as human shields. Families call it a war crime.
This has been Doomscroll.fm for Friday, the 20th of March, 2026. Your electronic whisper in the void. This broadcast was 100% AI generated with no humans abused. In this production, loosely based on public news. Not journalism, not truth, purely fictional satire. Any resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. And if you believe any of this is real, you probably think Bigfoot is your neighbor. Hear more at doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.